March of 2017 was a bipolar time for video games. Early in the month, Nintendo released The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild to critical acclaim and commercial success. It set a new bar for open-world titles and propelled the Nintendo Switch to a promising launch. On March 21st, however, BioWare released Mass Effect Andromeda. It was buggy, it was poorly paced, it was a troubling start for a new chapter in the iconic sci-fi series, and even now, after numerous patches and updates, it's still a weak game overall. These two games have something in common, though. They were both delayed on several occasions. For various reasons, the studios behind Zelda and Mass Effect felt they needed breathing room and changed their release dates. And despite their differences, these projects illustrate the benefits of delays. One title released when it was finally ready, and the other clearly could have used more time. Recently, developers Rockstar and Monolith Studios announced delays for Red Dead Redemption 2 and Middle-earth: Shadow of War, respectively. And while this is initially disappointing for people anticipating those games, now is as good a time as any to take a closer look at delays, to examine how hard they are to actually pull off, and to discuss why we, as players, should be relieved when they happen. The video game industry is not what it used to be. Publishers offer deluxe editions, season passes, and pre-order bonuses for what seems like every major game release. We're asked to buy a title months, sometimes a year before we'll ever get to play it. Maybe it's because of this relationship that a stigma has long been attached to game delays. We pay upfront for a game and all of its future DLC, expecting it on a certain date, sometimes planning other game purchases around it. So, when the developer needs more time to finish the game, it can be mistaken for a broken promise. We kept our end of the bargain, so why didn't they? This consumer-creator relationship becomes dicier when you consider Kickstarter campaigns. Rather than release the finished product to an expectant audience, Kickstarter allows developers to ask for money up front, in turn allowing the player to be involved in the funding process itself. Many creators provide updates to patrons along the way as behind-the-scene rewards, or even just to ensure them that work is being done to make good on their investment. But in this relationship, the creator doesn't have the same accountability it might in the traditional sales model. Here, a developer can take as much time as it wants in the creation process, promising a vague release date that could change at any given moment. To be clear, I don't have any inherent problems with this model. Some of my favorite games in recent years began as Kickstarter campaigns, from Darkest Dungeon to Hyper Light Drifter to the Banner Saga and, of course, FTL. But when Kickstarter purgatory grows larger by the year, people begin to notice that their investments are not coming to fruition. As of February, video game projects took in 60% less revenue than they did the year before through Kickstarter. Of course, we're also in the middle of an early access craze. In theory, this is a fascinating funding model. We pay an arbitrary amount for what we acknowledge to be a playable but unfinished game. Along the way, we'll see patches, developer updates, and probably added features. 10 minutes before writing this episode, I played PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and Dead Cells, both of which are in early access on Steam, and both of which are fantastic games already. But like Kickstarter games, the early access model has its own complications. Despite the fact that many games in this category are playable and missing only a few last-minute details, there are others that are nowhere near complete and have no solid release date, despite being in early access for much longer than they promised. People who buy into these games also assume the risk of these products being inferior. When Mass Effect Andromeda released, it was riddled with bugs, clunky animations, broken questlines, janky controls, and myriad glitches. Soon after, BioWare Montreal released a statement saying that it would fix Andromeda over time. Yes, a Mass Effect game released at full price, and its creators said it would improve it as it goes. Now, I understand that games aren't what they used to be. Many of them serve more as platforms than traditional games. Destiny and Overwatch come to mind. But when an RPG developer releases a buggy AAA game, knowing full well that it will have to fix, not support, fix a game after launch shows major flaws in this system. People paid $60, maybe more in some cases, to play Mass Effect on March 21st, and instead got a buggy mess that would only gradually become the Mass Effect they expected. I don't mean to keep kicking Mass Effect while it's down. I know the studio underwent numerous personnel changes and management problems throughout the course of Andromeda's development. I don't know the full story, but I know it wasn't the ideal environment for a team to make a quality game. And I know how hard it is to actually delay a game. Andromeda itself was delayed several times, and during that process, I was happy. The internal studio problems were a clear indicator that the developer needed more time, and I'm sure a lot of thought and pivoting went into those delays. Marketing campaigns are planned months, sometimes years in advance for AAA games. Much of any given campaign is structured around a specific release date, and changing that date can throw a whole campaign off. Furthermore, much of AAA development is interwoven between studios. Members that work on one title may be scheduled to work on another as soon as their current project releases. AAA development is also very much a cascading structure, where the money made from one game largely goes into making the next. To delay a game too much could cost personnel and funding for the next project a team wants to pursue. All of this is to say that game delays are, in no way, a simple strategy for a developer or publisher. They cost money, time, and resources. So for a developer to take a closer look at the project they've spent years on and tell us that they need more time to realize their vision should be a great thing. I'm not upset about Shadow of War getting delayed or Red Dead Redemption 2 getting pushed back, because I'm looking forward to hopefully playing these games in a finished state when they do release. You've likely played at least one, if not most of these games, and for good reason. They're all fantastic. Some of them are close to perfect. And yet, they were all, at one point or another, delayed. The cause of those delays range from famous to obscure. The story of Half-Life 2's development, for instance, has become the stuff of legend. Years of broken promises, legal battles, and scheduling problems led up to the final release. Reasons for Breath of the Wild's delay, on the other hand, are a bit more opaque. Nintendo just didn't think the game was ready, and so it held on to it. But of course, we don't remember all of these games because of their delays. We remember them for what they are now. They're classics. They're looked to as examples of how amazing games can be. They're testaments to the power of games as a creative medium over their value as a business industry. I think there needs to be more trust between creators and consumers, between developers and the fans playing their games. I think we need to understand that when Rockstar delays Red Dead Redemption 2 or Monolith delays Middle-earth: Shadow of War, that is a difficult choice and most likely not a bad thing for us at all. In fact, it's largely the opposite. It's two creators saying their work isn't ready for the people who want to play them. It's two developers saying, yes, video games are a business, but they're also a creative medium, an art form, and we want to release the best possible version of this project we're pouring our lives into. We want our time to be worth it, and we want to make your time worth it too. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching episode 8 of Reboot. This was actually the last episode of season 1. We're taking the week off next week to go down to Los Angeles for E3, but in a couple weeks when we come back, we will start season 2. So as always, get your questions and comments in, but this time, tell us not just what you liked or didn't like about episode 8, tell us what you like about the show, anything you could comment on, critique. We'll talk about that in our next episode, and we'll see you then.